It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Welcome to the Divas That Care Network. I'm your host, Amy McKenzie. Today's show, The Wow of Women, features the remarkable journeys of women whose powerful and extraordinary choices positively impact other people's lives. I'm so excited to introduce our guest today, Melissa Breaux, and let me just tell you a little bit about her first. Her topic today will be Journey to Authenticity, and it's just a perfect topic. Melissa, as she puts it, is a previous resident of the land of should, or shoulds. She started her journey to the land of authenticity, and she grew up in a very conservative household where she had to hide her true thoughts and feelings and desires. And after deciding enough was enough, Melissa discovered how beautiful being true to oneself really is. And she finds her greatest joy is in helping other women discover their passion and live a life they desire and deserve. What a wonderful commitment, Melissa. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Oh, Amy, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, it's all about inspiring one another. None of us have a clear path from A to B of this is who I am, this is what I want, and this is how I get it. And so I think when we get to share our journeys with one another, it helps us through those times when maybe we're in a blind spot ourselves, and hearing how someone got through theirs, I think really makes a difference. So I'm just really grateful to you for being willing to share, not just the ups, but the journey as well. So let's dig in a little bit. Now, what is your actual profession? Let's start with that.
My actual profession, what I tell people when I want to feel important, let's see. I am from my schooling, I'm an accountant. So, but the funny thing about that is I realized after getting my degree, working as an accountant for different different companies, that I actually don't like numbers. I was like, that's kind of late now to figure that out, Melissa. But now I realized my true passion was helping others, words. I like words, writing, things like that. I'm like, that's not related to numbers, Melissa. What have you been doing with yourself? So now I've decided to, since one of my goals is to live abroad, I decided to start a business where I can be location independent. So that's where I'm starting with as a virtual assistant for mindset and life coaches, because I love the work they do. And I think your mindset, when you change your mindset, you can change your whole life. So I love the work they do. So I love working with them.
Oh, that's great. So you're constantly having, it's almost like a built-in checking system, because if you're offering input to perhaps uplift someone's mindset, it's causing you to have to think that way yourself. Is that about right?
Exactly. You get me.
Yeah, I could see that. And so, I find that in coaching, I'm a much better version of myself than if I'm just left alone to listen to my, self-talk, which is by default rather negative. So it pulls you out of that. That's wonderful. Yeah. And so it took some courage, I would think, to make that big of a career transition. So what led up to that?
It was a big, at the moment, I just felt I was unhappy. But in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I was working with the county, so that's a government job, so it's very stable. They're not going to fire you. You have your paycheck every 2 weeks. You have great health insurance, right? I have a daughter and a young daughter, so it's like, can I really leave my stable, everybody would love this job,
right.
and go do something that's so uncertain. And everybody was like, are you sure you want to do this? And for me, people telling me that more makes me more want to do the thing they think I shouldn't. So I was like, yes, I'm going to do it.
Wow,
so
good for you.
Yeah,
wow.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you just what? Go ahead. Continue,
so
please.
I started researching different things that I can do online. I started looking and listening to people who had done it before, and they said it was possible. And I was like, if they can do it, why not me? So that's where it all started.
That's great. And so this is something that is location independent. Probably didn't require the degree of student loans that as of yet are not being forgiven to prepare yourself, right? You were able to use your life experience. Oh, that's terrific, and walk into that. Well, kudos to you for, actually taking that on. And let's back up a step further. You're working in a job that looks so good from the outside, sounds good on a resume or in conversation at that meetup or whatnot, but there was an abiding underlying current of unhappiness. What did it take for you to really get present with that to the point that you would acknowledge the impact and cause something new to happen?
So I think it was finally listening to that inner voice. I had gotten so used to ignoring it my whole life, and I think it finally built up to the point where it was going to explode. It was like, Melissa, if you don't listen to me, you know what I'm saying? So I finally listened to it, and I think also what helped me do something about it was I'm a reader. So there would be books I would be reading about women who felt the same way I did or went through similar experiences, and they were talking about, yes, this is your one and only life. You have to live it now, right? You have to enjoy this life. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're not happy now, then what are you living your life for? And that really stuck with me. And I was like, Melissa, girl, you have to do something about this.
So share with us some of those books, because some of our listeners might look them up and really also benefit.
Sure. One of the books, the first books I read was The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. And I was raised my whole life trying to be perfect, like good is not good enough. You have to be perfect. And when I read her book, and I was like, wait, it's okay to be imperfect? Really? I'm going to be how I am? I was like, like mind-blowing. So that was great. All about accepting yourself and trying to become the better version of yourself. There was also Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, because I thought
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, it's by Susan Cain. And that book helped me because I heard introvert, and I'd say, yeah, I'm an introvert, but I didn't really know what that meant. So when I read the book, I was like, so introverts have a power of their own. So because everybody kept pushing me to be more extroverted, and that felt uncomfortable, inauthentic. And now reading that book, it's another book that's saying, no, you're an introvert, and it's okay that you're an introvert, and this is how you can honor your introvert and how you can work with your introversion and be the best you. So that was great.
Okay, so what's your superpower as an introvert?
My superpower as an introvert. I think I am and I don't want to sound egotistical, but I think I am good at inspiring others. I think because I listen to what they have to say and I'm really listening, I help push them to do that big thing they were scared of doing. For example, I have a friend, he was visiting here the other day, and he was saying for a year he had been trying to get into like being a love coach, coaching others. And I was listening to him talk. He had given me advice before, and I was like, no, you should totally do this. And he was expressing his doubts. There are a million coaches out there. Why should people listen to me? And I was explaining to him, no, everybody has someone they resonate with. So you might be that person someone resonates with. Why would you deny that other person your gift? And talking to him like that, and finally he did it. And now he's been on, this was like less than a month ago, now he's been on Instagram Live. People are calling him for interviews. They're asking him for coaching advice on Instagram. And I was like, see, you did it. And he said, what touched me was like, you know what, I told other people about my dreams before, and they were just like, meh, okay, cool, do it. But talking to you, you got so excited about it, and you made me really feel like I could do it, and I did it. That's the greatest feeling for me.
That's wonderful. Let's give him a plug. What's his name? People can look him up.
Oh, my goodness. It's in French. So if you have some French-speaking people who are interested in love coaching, it's Vesty Conseil. So I can spell it. It's VESTYCONSEILS.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, what a wonderful story. And so, you know, if we are ponds, right, and let's say our group mind is the equivalent of a pond, and our tiny pebble that gets tossed into that pond creates that ripple effect that can literally move across the waters one side to the other. Your ripple effect in this journey to authenticity that you support people to engage in has an effectiveness in the world that you can see, and that's not often the case. So that's wonderful because it came out of pure listening, and it is a superpower because it means that you are truly present with people, and I just really want to acknowledge you for that, Melissa.
Oh, thank you. You have a wonderful way of putting things. Thank you.
Well, you know, I'm moved and inspired, and that's, you know, what inspired this show. You know, I think that we all get to take turns being one another's angels, if you will. I know I certainly need them in my life, and now and then I stumble into being lucky enough to be one for someone else. And it generally does come from actually being over there with someone instead of embroiled in my head here, which is self-absorbed and not very effective for people. And maybe being an introvert does another superpower, is that you're not so busy talking that you actually have time to be present. It's great. So let's look a little bit too. I want to see now for you, you know, when we have something that we're engaged and committed to doing, or, you know, such as really being involved in the coaching of uplifting someone's mindset. And we talked about this a little bit, but in your own words, what difference does that make for you? What aspect of this are you passionate about, and how do you see it reflected in your own life?
Oh, what aspect of it am I passionate about? I think why I'm passionate about it is because helping others reach their goals or live their best life, I feel like my life has a purpose. For me, it's not, although I would love to be like a famous singer or an actor or something like that, but for me, helping others live their lives better makes me happy. And I feel like if everybody in the world were sharing their gifts with the world, how much better, how much more awesome would this world be? And I feel just helping someone else reach their potential, like you said, it has a ripple effect, and that's my part of my way of helping make the world a better place.
I love that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, can you imagine if everyone was actually fulfilling their purpose? They had the resources, the encouragement. It would be. Yeah, it would be. Well, you know, one person at a time, right? We just keep moving forward, and there's a lot of evidence that people are waking up. I just wrote a poem yesterday called "A Return to Kindness," And I think it's in the air. You know, I think, yes, certainly we see the opposite, and the news promotes, you know, the negative side with veracity. But I think that, you know, enough people like yourself and what you're up to really does make a difference, every single bit of it. And we have the scientific evidence now in so many ways. I'm a licensed heart math practitioner, and we have massive evidence to show the difference that someone's emotional contribution to a group of people will dramatically affect the energy of that group. And so it's not, you know, woo-woo talk anymore, as some people put it. We have, you know, I like measurable results, and we have that now. So and you're seeing measurable results, like with your friend whose name I can't possibly pronounce. You know, the Love Doctor.
Yes, we'll call
you know,
him that.
And that must, we'll call him the Love Doctor. That must really, I could see where that would bring you tremendous joy. And I think you're right. When we sense our purpose and that we're on track with that, there's nothing more fulfilling. And you're a mom raising a young daughter. So now, how do you balance everything? How do you keep your balance in the midst of being there for a child, being there for other people? You know, where does Melissa fall into all that?
That is something I've had to work on a lot, and I'm still working on, but it has gotten better. I think what helps is boundaries. For example, I've learned it's very hard for me to say no to people, but I'm starting to say it more. And at first I feel bad, but then after, when I have that time to myself, that time to recharge, I'm like, no, I needed that time that person was asking for. It's also, I think, being cognizant of what you can handle, like your bandwidth. So, for example, I know that in one day I can't, because right now we're homeschooling because of the coronavirus. So I wasn't expecting to be a teacher during this time also. So there's
right.
I know if I'm helping my daughter with a project, or then if I'm helping someone, coaching someone else, and then I have my own personal things to do, I know I can't do all of them in one day. So I space it out based on, I pay attention to, how do I say, like my cycle. So I know Mondays I'm not the greatest. Mondays I'm still kind of ramping up. I'm not reached my full peak yet, but I know by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then I can start talking to people, you know. So it's about knowing yourself, your patterns, and then having boundaries and respecting those boundaries.
Very clear advice for people. That's really great. And again, that requires authenticity. We've got to be really kind of real with ourselves to say, yeah, I'm not really the best on Monday.
Exactly.
And so let's schedule for Wednesday. Yeah, no, that's great. And it's also really paying attention to what's just true about yourself without judgment. And I can imagine that wasn't something you walked into, that you had to earn that, so to speak, that level of awareness with yourself. Would you not agree?
Exactly. It really takes time to know oneself, and it was crazy to me how much I didn't know about myself. Or you know what? It wasn't that I didn't know. I ignored it. I ignored it because I was like, no, this is what I'm supposed to be like. This is what I should be like, right? So I ignored it. But after I sat down, I think for me, what's been helpful is meditation. I think everybody in the world should meditate. I don't know where it's been all my life, but just taking a few minutes each day to be still and it's just actually just be still and just think about what you want, what you desire, or just let, I don't know, the universe talk to you. It makes such a difference. So now I feel more at one with myself, so I'm able to be more authentic because I know this is Melissa. You know?
Oh, that's terrific. Okay, so now that you've, really let go of the land of shoulds, I love that you put it that way, and you work every day to exist in your world of authenticity, and you've really made the changes to, support that. What's next?
So I would really like to become a motivational speaker of sorts. I like speaking to people and encouraging them, and I think when I'm speaking to them in person, like a group, I feed off of their energy. So I would really like it one day to be able to do that, hold workshops for people to help them explore themselves, find their purpose, find their passion, and all the while doing that while I'm living in France, because France is my my spirit country.
I love that. Now, there's something interesting that comes to mind. I find it fascinating that, and I think what I'm hearing here when you say this is an introvert telling me that they want to be a motivational speaker. Okay, now normally you don't picture those two in the same deck of cards. But what I'm hearing inside of that, and tell me if I'm on the right track here, is that when you really are committed to something, and it is your true calling, let's say, it overrides any presumptive idea we have about ourselves and pushes you beyond what you might have thought yourself to be to encompass whatever it takes to accomplish that, which is definitely stepping outside the typical, at least my understanding, of being an introvert. Is that how that can happen for you? Or if not, fill us in. How does that work?
Yeah. So, yes, you are absolutely correct. I'm an introvert, right? So what that mostly means also, too, is that I need time alone to recharge. But, and I am shy, too. So I am shy. If I'm in a group of people, I will be the one not talking. But I find when this message to me is not even the message, this calling I have, exactly like you said, it is so strong within me that I feel like if I don't share it with other people or help other people, I'm going to burst. You know what I'm saying? And exactly like you said, that overrides my need to be alone, my shyness, everything like that. So yes, I will do my public speaking, but then after that, I might go back to my room and read for an hour or a day or something.
Right, go hide in the den for a bit.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it really speaks to how serious you are about your commitment, how woven through your whole person it really is, that you can't live unless you, not satisfactorily, unless you really do step out into this, which is obviously outside your comfort zone. So kudos to you for taking on whatever it is that might stop you, typically, and you just won't let it stop you. That's really brave. I really commend you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, before we close the show, do you have any last parting thoughts on the journey to authenticity? What would you like to leave our listeners with as, if someone's really not connected yet and they're feeling a little bit troubled by that? Anything that you might say as a starting point to our listeners?
I would say the starting point is first acknowledge that feeling that you have, right? Don't ignore it. That's where you need to start. And then once you start realizing that, hey, I'm not happy with where I am, that's great. Do something like meditation is great. Even if you can do it for 5 minutes a day, just be still and listen to yourself. That's important because we're so inundated today with messages from everybody else 24/7. It's really important to listen to yourself. And then I would say maybe find some other people who have done that journey before you, the blogs, read their books. But I would say definitely the first step is to acknowledge that feeling, because once you acknowledge that feeling, that'll push you to do something about it.
Right. Oh, that's perfect. So first, just get real with where you are. Listen and find out. That's beautiful advice, Melissa. I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing your heart, for being so vulnerable and raw.
Definitely a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
It was my pleasure. Well, in closing, I, of course, want to thank Melissa Breaux, what a remarkable guest, our listeners, our producer, the founder of the Divas That Care Network, Candace Gish. You know, Candace redefines the word diva to mean a courageously self-assured woman, or in Melissa's case, right, a self-actualized woman. The Divas That Care Network offers women of all walks a platform for sharing their voice in the world. We invite you to join us. You can visit divasthatcare.com, hear other inspiring stories, and who knows, maybe you'd like to add your voice to the conversation. We'd love to have you. With that, signing off. Until next time, thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.